Alright guys, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between Nurgle and the Chaos Dwarfs. It's going to be myself with Festus facing off against Pwn, who's going to be rocking the Bale Taurus Prophet. Very, very strong, certainly the best character on the roster. Although I think in some unique situations, Astrogoth is still very good. As far as the other characters go, Zaytan is basically useless, and same with Drazhoath. I mean, Drazhoath can win games, but he's heavily overshadowed by the Sorcerer Prophet. Now, as far as my build goes, I was looking at old Total Tavern, and I was chatting with Pwn in Discord, and I saw that old Nurgle, I think was like 0-8 or 0-9 against them, and I was like, that can't be right. I feel like Nurgle's got some tools. So let's get in there, and let's get that dub for Nurgle. So as far as the army goes, it's going to be Plague Toads. I figured, hey, Chaos Dwarfs, they have armored infantry, right? So it's going to be Dwarf Warriors maybe, some like laborers, whatever. And on top of that, they're not super vulnerable against, let's say, like Magma Cannons or Death Shrieks. That was kind of the idea with this. Now, for the rest of the build, it's going to be Plague Bearers. And also, on the note of the Toads, before I forget, I was worried about trains. I thought Pwn might come in with like a triple train build because Chorfs kind of love to do that. So I was concerned if I went like mass wide warriors, I would just get run over. So the Toads, I figure, have enough mass and poison to deal with that, right? Plague Bearers, just throwing them in there. They're going to move up and grind that objective. We'll see how they do with Toad support. And on the other side, we have a couple of Marauders with Great Weapons. Of course, no proper Nurgle player is going to leave home without at least one of these guys. But we have two here, the Exalted Heroes of Nurgle on horseback. Insane Goon Squad. The idea with them is to have them be like the personal bodyguard of Festus and just protect him and keep that bad boy going. Now for Pwn's army, his army is super cool, way cooler than mine, I have to admit. He's got the Sorcerer Prophet, which is extremely meta, but aside from that, he's got some elite Chowie. So he has the Infernal Ironsworn here, and one of the coolest units on the roster, which is the Immortals. Yeah, so badass. So yeah, these guys in theory really good against my demon units, and I didn't think about that. I was like, oh man, yeah, the Immortals not something you like scheme about super hard. Granted, the regular Infernal Ironsworn also do magic damage and fire damage against Nurgle. Talk about awesome, right? So the the Immortals here, they will be able to cut through Toads potentially very, very well. So we'll see how this all unfolds. So moving up here are my Hordes of Chaos. We have the Plague Bearers as well as the Toads. We're going to be doing a push on the back objective too, trying to get that, because I figure I'm going to be taking a beating from Chaos Dwarf Artillery, so let's try and at least win on objectives here. I think the Beast tried to breath attack. No, he's just using his pistol, but Festus should be able to heal up using Healing Elixir, so he's going to go hide in the trees, go on vacation. We see a Death Shriek rocket launcher, which I don't really have too many ways of shutting down, honestly. It's kind of just something as Nurgle you probably have to endure. I guess you could use some Rot Flies, but then, you know, they can call in Hobo Goblins, or in this case, Bull Centaur Renders with Great Weapons, which is a really good call in from Pwn. This is going to be a good tool against my Plague Toads. All right, so objectives opening up here in a moment, and the fighting will start here in just a second. So then we move out Festus. Blasting charges or something, yeah, it's funny, you don't expect them from Chaos Dwarfs too much, but they get in there and they really wreck my Plague Bearer. So we respond by sending in the Toads, thinking their armor piercing will be effective here, and the Exalted Heroes of Nurgle are going to be jumping on top of the Immortals. Yeah, because they have good AP, right? So having these two big AP characters chewing through an elite infantry unit, hopefully will be good. And Captain Triple Chins is moving in with his healing elixirs. And overall, yeah, the Exalted Heroes of Nurgle doing great. They're doing a ton of damage. And now there's going to be some fat burning head action coming down here from Pwn, which is going to be a pretty good one. Yeah, very nice cast by him. Goes through the Plague Bearers and the other Plague Bearers as well. And we're going to be trying our best to hold back the Dowie Tide. Granted, the value's looking kind of rough right now. However, we do take his back objective, so we have him triple caps right now. We do see the Plague Toads and the basic chaff units were able to clear out the Goblin Laborers, but the Bull Centaur Renders, man, making very quick work of the old Toads of Nurgle. Yes, they do it in the big scary bulls on parade. As far as objective 1 goes, we got more Chaos Warriors hustling up from the backfield. I started to notice my lack of armor piercing. The Toads just weren't enough. And the fact that the Ironsworn do magic damage really helps get past the defensive capabilities of the Toad with the physical resistance. So I was like, oh man, this is not going super well. I'm massively behind in value. The overall execution hasn't been great, aside from the fact that we did get a triple cap out of the gates. I'm calling Nurglings to hold the back objective, but now we're going to be getting some Kadai Fireborn. How cool is this? He's using like all the cool units. And yeah, they're not bad against demons. I've used Kadai Fireborn against Nurgle to pretty good success in the past. Also against Slaanesh it can be okay. Granted, Slaanesh is mainly just armor spam these days. But if they do have like Seekers or other demons or Exalted Demonettes, the Kadai Fireborn can give them the dirty. Still holding on to the objective though, ladies and gentlemen. We have gone Mortis Engine mode on Festus. So now the Harbinger of Pestilence going to be draining down these elite units. The Exalted Heroes not doing badly. And the Chaos Warriors are anchoring it. Now you can see we're on the board a little bit. And with healing taken into account, we're still down probably by 1,500 value. But it's a game that we can get back in. So here, Infernal Ironsworn getting melted. And the Immortals taking some casualties as well. But huge Death Shriek rocket launcher. There's not really too many point to bring a Magma Cannon these days. Death Shrieks just do such good damage. Granted, Magmas, I think, like hit moving targets a little bit better. in terms of this, the anti-infantry mode. Obviously, the heat-seeking missiles from Death Shrieks are good at hitting moving targets. But Festus and company are, you know, basically just doing everything they can to hold on to this point. And this is where I was starting to sweat bullets because I saw the big man coming over, the Sorcerer Prophet, and Festus doesn't have enough mass to really get away, and these Chorfs are actually fairly stalwart. So this is probably going to be the end of Festus. He's waddling hard, and also the Death Shriek shooting him. It doesn't do a ton of damage since he's not a large target, but yeah, still pretty rough. So Exalted Heroes anchoring it down. More Chaos Warriors are arriving. The last of my Chaos Warriors here, having gotten only 300 value, being bullied by these dread hordes of Infernal Ironsworn. Thankfully, the Bale Taurus did do a breath attack, which gives Captain Triple Chin some time to escape here, and the Sorcerer Prophet's going to be hunting him down, and in response, I pull back the Exalted Heroes. One of them is trapped, though, and they're going to be going in to try and protect Festus, so both Exalted Heroes do get in, and they both miss that attack there. We also call in some Marauder Horsemen of Nurgle to get their throwing axes into the big man, and Festus is stabilized for now. So that was about as good as I could ask for. More Marauders with Great Weapons being called out of reserve. Most likely we'll move up on the point here, and now the dreaded Iron Demon is out, guys. This is going to be brutal. So we do have the Demon's Tongue moving up, the Chorf Ingenuity on full display here. And that's going to be brutal. I mean, trains have always been really punishing against Nurgle, right? Because you have the Toads, but like if you're playing Warriors of Chaos, you can stop the trains a little bit more effectively by using like Armored Chaos Trolls. You know, they're better against large targets, but yeah, with this, it's going to be a tricksy Hobbit. We don't have too many good answers against that right now. So yeah, here it comes. Festus getting hunted here, throwing axes and rancid visitations on the Sorcerer Prophet, trying to wear him down. Starting to realize the value isn't going well, so I need to try and find a way to just win an objective. So we're going to be moving up with our Marauders of Nurgle, trying to swarm there and just hope that the Bull Centaur Renders are able to clear them out. More Forsaken coming up, just infantry capture weight, just all hands on deck, desperation capturing. So your boy Festus getting beaten down once again, and now the Flamethrower tank, man. If only like a lot of like this thing's flamethrower mechanics, it actually seemed like it works pretty well. When you look at like a lot of flamethrower units, they just are like awkward and they don't shoot, or they like shoot the edge of a formation. But whatever they did with the coding on the Chaos Dwarf Demon's Tongue, dude, yeah, that should be applied to like most other of those types of units. So yeah, this is looking to be a complete rout here in the backfield. My two Exalted Heroes are holding it down. I am going to ninja his home point again, so once again going for a points victory, but we still have a lot of game left to be played, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe the Exalted Heroes are going to be able to grind it out, and or he will delve too greedily and too deeply in my backfield, and we'll be able to use the dreaded Nurgle mobility. Yes, the Marauder Horsemen will be able to do something. Find out on today's episode of Dragon Ball Z. So Champ's still doing good, not complaining. 600 on this one, and the other one is sitting at about 600. Their mass they've been having trouble getting through the ranks here. But now this is what I feared most, was these Skullcrackers. So Pone very wisely waits for all my Toads to be gone and my mass, and then he calls out these trains, which are just going to absolutely steamroll my chaff units. It's going to be a disaster. So I was just annihilation, to say the least. Champion's pulling back here, hoping to get a little bit of a cheeky grab at the backfield, so we're going to go after the Demon's Tongue. The two Exalted Heroes going to be very good against trains. They're one of the better tools you have for sure. Like when you play Warriors of Chaos against Chorfs, you probably want to bring some of these Exalted Heroes of Nurgle just to fight trains anyways, right? It's going to be the way. And they try and fight, but both of them do get terror-routed. Unsummons going down from Pone here. We got his back objective, but the Forsaken retreating back to the objective, knowing it's not going well. And we're going to be just desperation holding this point. As the Flamethrower tank hard counters my skirmishers, dude. I can't even get near him. Just absolutely roasts me there, and it puts me in a pretty bad way, to say the least. So Forsaken pulling to the back point, and over here we do have some Marauders being Death Shrieked, so they're just going to be finished off. And yes, these Bull Centaur Renders, even though they are the Great Open variant, they are teamed up with the train here. So the Skullcracker is just going to give these Forsaken the absolute business. Meanwhile, the Exalted Heroes are on the run here, and the Marauder Horsemen are going to be circling about, trying to get a pick on these Kadai Fireborn and break their leadership. We'll see what we can do. So here comes the Exalted Hero. Yes, yes, go, go. Sorcerer Prophet going to be jamming downtown, and he does punish the Exalted Hero once again, proving to be one of the better characters in the game. These guys are just nuts. Their items, like the Chalice of Blood and Darkness, is insane. The fact that it just like heals them anytime a spell is cast by an enemy on the map, it's basically good against everyone except Khorne, which we wouldn't have too many applications against. So back objective looking tough. We are kind of holding on to it. The Forsaken are fighting and doing okay damage, but now Nurgle's got a bit of a second wave here as all the Toads moving out. Also going to be sending Toads over to this point, but the Infernal Ironsworn and their damn magic damage, really a nice counter against the demonic anti-infantry units, right? Horsemen circling, and the Fireborn, I believe, finally crumbled down. Did they? Yeah, it looks like they got taken down by the throwing axes. Meanwhile, using my throwing axes to try and get this train. The Champion of Nurgle going to be grinding them down, and we are kind of closing the value gap. We're at about 7 to 11, give or take, and we had some healing. Not too much healing, though, to really justify that big of a value gap. So Pone's definitely in good shape here. A couple Marauders fighting on the point, battling against the chaff units. Another train being called in. Nope, it's going to be Hobo Goblins. But now, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be triple capped, and we're going to have to scrap and fight tooth and nail for our survival. That's going to be a burning head there. Nice cast. Really wanted to finish off the train. Currently sitting at about 500, so they do move up. And is it going to go down? 400. Come on, get those throwing axes. More Marauders of Nurgle heading up to the point, but those Infernal Ironsworn are just such chads, man. They're hanging in there. Chaos Warriors coming in to reinforce. Might be able to win this 2v1. We'll have to see. They don't have a ton of HP, I suppose. The Chaos Warriors flanking out of the trees. I did have a couple that rallied on the edge of the map, so they're able to make their way back in. They should uptrade into the Infernal Ironsworn pretty well. We'll keep tabs on that fight, because we still have a bit of a points lead. So in my head, I was like, all right, let's scrap a little bit longer, see if we can catch him making some mistakes. Maybe we goon his lord, get some character picks, that sort of thing, right? But Hobo Goblins do arrive. We took down one train, but another has replaced it. Here it's going to be more Marauders of Nurgle with Great Opens moving up. Hobo Goblins coming to reinforce that point. Hopefully we'll be able to flip that one. We'll find out today if we can. Marauder Horsemen rally on the edge of the map. A couple Marauders here do get run over by the dreaded Train of Doom. And my Exalted Hero of Nurgle probably going to be escorted off the map right now and or killed. We'll see. He's currently at 500 HP. The Baletor's character appears to miss. So yeah, he's almost at the edge. He's running the Miracle Run right there. So we'll do some fast forwarding here as we scrap a little bit on the edge of the battlefield. Marauder Horsemen pulling back, and this objective not looking good for us. Honestly, the game's just in a pretty bleak way for me. I've been behind for a long time. The initial starting barrage was very, very inefficient. It just did not go well. Festus actually comes out, and there's a couple of funny little plays here. So we do drop the Rancid Visitations up on the big man, and calling some toads as well. We actually kind of trap him, which was really funny. So in the late game here, like Nurgle coming in with not hearing no bell, and we do take out the Lord, it looks like. At the very least, he's probably going to shatter and or run off the battlefield. So yeah, the Baletor's character is not in great shape, and now Nurgle's going to be moving up with a bit of a second win. We got our Toad Legion. The Baletor's character is on the run, but I've been passing points pretty heavily, and now like the value difference probably isn't too stark with healing taken into account. We move over here and we take this objective, and we're going to get this one back for sure. Godai Fireborn coming, a lot of Toads coming out, Horsemen going in, so we're going to try and ninja the back objective as well. So we had like some cheeky little plays here and there where we get a couple Horsemen and we go and steal his back objective. So we take this objective and we should be able to hold on to it with Festus and the Toads. Now we have some mass to battle the trains. We also go for a ninja cap on objective 3, and funnily enough, like we're pretty close to getting it. So that was weird. You could be behind from so far and still scrap, you know, it's fun. GG, well played. Pwn played a great game and a very good build execution too. Like the build worked so well against mine. It was punishment. And he also played it very well too. Just all around good stuff. 3,000 value on his Lord, Death Streak at 1,700. These Ironsworn were the carries though. Like his infantry just wrecked me. So dude, that matchup feels hard. I'd have to go to the drawing board and figure out how I would play that differently. How would I play that differently? Like, because how does Nurgle deal with the trains is my concern. You can't really go big monster, because if you do, a Death Streak will kill you, right? It'll just sit and accrue of millions of value on you. Maybe you have to do some weird shit where you like cheese the artillery using like a Plague Drone Goon Squad, and then you move up with like Kugath. Because Kugath would dominate like most of the stuff in combat. And more to send them down, but like, yeah, you gotta shut down the big artillery in the back. Otherwise, Kugath will die to that eventually. Yeah, it was fun, man. His flamethrower train was good. If any of you Nurgle champions have had success, I'd love to see some notes. But anyways, GG, well played. See you guys next time. Take care of yourselves. Awesome game by Pwn, and that's gonna be it for tonight.